Okay, we're officially live. Today, I wanted to just like hang out with everybody and talk about some of the community events that have been happening and whether or not we've been enjoying those, or if we wanted to see any sort of other community events happen. If anybody has any opinions on that, that'd be great. And then otherwise, let's just sit and watch cartoons and stuff from childhood. Because I feel like this lounge reminds me of my childhood. I would go to arcades and stuff in order to avoid being at home because we didn't have any air conditioning in the house, and I lived in a very hot area. So I try to find air conditioned bars and stuff to go to. But okay, let's open up the floor. What do we think we'd like to start doing for community hangouts? If anybody has any opinions, this is your chance. And I'm gonna float ominously over here. So. Mm-hmm. And if nobody has any opinions, then we can just watch stuff. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. All right. Well, pretty quiet. I'll just go ahead and ask people directly then. Smurf, what would you like to do when you join these community hangups? What do you expect, and what do you like? What do you not like doing?
Um,
Putting you on the
I don't know.
spot.
I just got like back into this game recently, or experience. I don't know what to call it. I don't know.
So,
Drexler always yells at me for calling it a game.
what does he say to you?
Oh, he says it's not a game; it's an experience.
You call it whatever you want, and don't let Drax tell you what to do.
For real.
I can just see Drax being like, "No, no, come to the corner here. Let me tell you exactly. Let me tell you exactly what this is." Drax had an April Fool's joke on his Twitter the other day where he was like, "I quit Sansar," and I was like, "Drax, why?" So Drax is funny, unless he's serious when he tells you that. He's like, "Hey, listen to me."
No, he's
Smurf."
he's like joking around, but he was like, "Smurf, it's not a game; it's an experience."
Is that how Drax sounds?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his voice.
I'm Drexter.
You are streaming live, so he's gonna know all of this. Assuming he
Oh,
watches.
hi,
this
Drexter.
he's talking to himself, I guess. All right. So you're having a good time making fun of Drax. I get it. So, in our future community hangouts, we'll make sure to have like a Drax sort of an impression. Oh, that'd be interesting. You know how they used to do those Elvis conventions where everybody would come in and the best Elvis would win. We could do that for Drax.
He would love that. He would
Sure.
Wait, what?
really love that.
I missed this. What happened?
Smurf was making was doing an impression of Draxter that sounded. Smurf, do you want to do it again?
Please.
Drexter.
So that's Smurf's impression of Draxter. So I was thinking we could have a sort of community convention like they do at Elvis conventions, where they have all the impersonators come in and the best one wins an award.
Oh my god.
I feel like Drax would really love that. But you know what? I have not seen Drax come to these community meetups, so I'm not super happy with him. And Drax, I don't mind you knowing that. You can DM Galileo for any sort of retort. All right. All right. Who's next? Majeka, what do you like about our community hangouts, and what would you like to see change?
I would like to float around like you and swim around. Okay, maybe not yet. Jump around in low gravity.
Okay. All right. So we want more activity. You can float around like me right now. You just have to go into the Sansar store, I think.
Yes, I know that one.
Yeah. I was gonna say. You have to know this.
Sorry.
Wow, Lacey, are you bored?
No, I'm sleepy.
Wow. Wow.
sleepy.
I expected this from Smurfbox, but not you, Lacey.
I'm gonna go cry. It's hard being a very buff anime girl. Sorry.
Look, I float all the time. You think this is easy?
Well, you know, you can't skip even a minute of leg day with these muscles, all right? Look at my glutes. look at them. I need a flex animation right now.
You need a flex animation.
Dan, that's the best I got.
That's it. It's pretty.
Well, you know what? I actually think that if there were a buff anime girl running around, that would probably be her most likely flex.
What's up, everyone?
That's a weird flex, but okay. Hello.
Yeah.
Who said hello?
Hello.
Oh, I did it in a low voice.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, Lacey, that was incredible. I did not.
I've done some voice acting in my day.
Oh really? Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, the last person here, since we got a fairly small community hangout today. Space Sailor, what would you like to see change? Or what do you like? Space is typing. Maybe not. Will somebody check Space's pulse?
Space tends to be a typer, so
I like people talking about random stuff. Well, that is what we'll continue to do because that's the easiest thing to organize. Lacey wanted to talk about her most embarrassing high school story today. Huh.
No.
yes, please.
I'm pretty sure
I
that
wanna
you
hear.
offered to do that just
I
before.
offered the topic, not me.
I've got a contract that you signed in blood.
What?
Yeah, I've got it.
Oh no.
Don't make me
I
import
gotta
it.
think on this. I gotta think on this. So now I have to think.
What about you, Harley? What was your most embarrassing high school experience? That is appropriate.
I had to think of an appropriate one.
I don't know if I had any embarrassing ones. I mean, I did, but I don't know how many of them are appropriate or not. That's always difficult.
I mean, I feel like life was kind of embarrassing in high school because my mom taught at my high school.
Oh my gosh, did people give you crap all the time, or what?
I mean, kind of like. Luckily for me, she was kind of a popular teacher.
Oh,
but
nice.
like, I did get a lot of like, "Hey, can you ask your mom why I got a B on my essay?"
of and did you ever use your mom as leverage?
I spent a lot of my high school trying to distance myself as much as possible because I was kind of one of those annoying, like, overachiever types in high school. I'm sure you're really surprised.
No, that is surprising. People are weird. People are weird in high school.
Yeah, I was really like that, and I wanted to distance myself from my mom as much as possible because I wanted it to be very clear that my achievements were my own and not as a benefit of her association with the school. So it was difficult.
So you were an overachiever type. What else were you like in high school? Were you popular? Did you have a lot of friends?
Not at all. No. I was one of the only goths in the entire school.
One of the only. Did you get along with the other ones?
So for like the first several years of my high school career, I didn't know any others. So I basically just hung out with the other people who didn't fit into any cliques.
Okay.
And then like there was an event that caused me to get to know some of my underclassmen, like people in my brother's grade, a little bit better, like my final year of high school. And so I finally had some other, oddly enough, Japanese-speaking goth friends for like my last year of high school.
That's just a very specific niche.
It's a really specific niche.
Now, Harley, are you Japanese? Or you just speak Japanese, right?
I speak Japanese and I lived in Japan for a significant amount of time, but I would not consider myself Japanese.
Alright, I thought of one.
All right, Lacey, what's going on?
It's not a high school story, it's a middle school story, so it's even worse.
They're pretty close together.
They're pretty close, but it's like, I don't know. I have a theory that middle schoolers are the most terrifying people on the planet because, like, you can kind of like guess if some people are going to be mean and other things. Middle schoolers, they're unpredictable.
Sure.
You don't know when they're going to strike and how bad they will. So, anyway, without further ado, this is a very embarrassing one, but it's funny. So, when I was in middle school, I had my first crush, whatever. Yes. He was my... it was like a 3-year crush as well, so this was like some serious stuff, and his name was Zach, and he was my best friend. And we were just a bunch of goobers because we both had a crush on each other, but we didn't know what to do, so...
Well,
that's
you
basically how it was.
wait till you're in high school, because middle school you just chill out.
Basically, but I wish I could go back and tell myself that. However, I remember he invited me to the town fair this one time.
The town fair. Oh
Yes.
my goodness.
I realize this is going on Twitch, so shout out Zach. Hey.
Hey,
No,
Zach. Drax, Drax, you can stay quiet.
That's an experience.
So there was the town fair, and he invited me to it. And the town fair was, in the middle of the town, so it was actually only about like a 10-minute walk from his house. So I eventually got permission from my mother, who was very, very helicopter parenty, and she was not a big fan of me going out, and hanging out with a guy or anything like that in middle school, without parents or anything. But we were at the town fair, so it was fine. Eventually, she let me go, and Zach asked, "Hey, do you want to go like play at the park or something?" And I was like, "Oh boy, he's gonna kiss me or something, this is awesome." And so we start leaving the fair and everything, and I guess my family decided to end up coming to the fair. And what do you know, as we're walking out to the park, a car pulls by that looks really familiar. And it turns out that was my family watching me leave the fair. And I guess what happened is they're like, "Who are those hoodlums going around?" or anything like that.
Hoodlums.
And then my mom shouted, "Those are our hoodlums!" And she started screaming at me, and she pulled me into the car and said, "You're not going out again for all the time." And I got grounded and embarrassed in front of my crush.
Oh no.
Feels
It
bad,
was-
man.
Feels
Oh,
bad,
man.
man.
I was so embarrassed.
Wow.
Yeah, I got grounded for a month. That was embarrassing. Oh well.
Huh.
I think I'll survive.
Well,
I
you've
mean,
made it so
my
far.
ego is ruined, but I'll survive. No, I definitely have, but in terms of like top 10 embarrassing moments, that's easily top 3.
That's one of them. So, big follow-up question. Where is Zach now?
Good question. Well, Zach is I guess he runs professionally or something?
He runs professionally?
Or he's on, I don't know, runs or bikes or something. I just know that I've never seen anybody with that kind of like endurance and muscles on their legs, and so I guess
Except for
he's-
you.
I mean, I guess
Well,
so.
your avatar.
Yeah, I guess so. Yes, I know, right? Like, yeah, I haven't spoken to him since middle school though. So, you win some, you lose a lot.
I feel like that story had a greater impact on you than you might imagine, due to the fact that you were talking about how strong your avatar legs were earlier.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I
And
had
now
to figure out how to run.
that'd be so funny if that were just like a weird sort of impact that it had on your life. Like everybody that you see, you notice their incredibly strong legs or not.
That's funny.
Or it's weird. That's okay. Okay. Smurfbox, what about you? Embarrassing high school story.
I don't really have any, but I don't know, it's probably happened to a lot of people, I guess. But like when you're walking down the hallway and you see someone in front of you like waving at you, and then you wave back, and then you realize that they're waving to the people behind you and not you.
Yeah.
So you're just like,
It's like a daily
like
occurrence for me.
And in high school, they're like, "Why are you waving, weirdo?"
yeah, or they just like don't acknowledge me at all. They just walk right past me. I'm like, wait, what?
Oops.
I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm just gonna leave.
I'm just gonna.
Got a blast.
Mine was fairly. I mean, the one that I can Oh, hi, Brandon. Brandon on Twitch. So hi, Brandon, everybody.
Hello.
Hey.
I guess the most embarrassing. So I used to do theater, which I'm sure would surprise nobody.
Nope, not even a little.
Yeah. So I was. This is gonna sound crazy. I don't know. It's gonna sound like one of those things. I was like a I was in like all the shows. You know, I was a kind of a big deal. You know, but you know, so people, you know, were like, oh, you know, obviously there's people in school, you know, who are known for certain things, and I was that person, one of those, and so I forgot a line. I forgot a line during a big show, and I had to be saved by my girlfriend who was also in the show, and that was pretty embarrassing. But also one of the things we used to do is. It was sort of a joke, sort of like a tradition. We would all do our last rehearsal without our pants on. I mean, we were not nude or anything, but you know, but we would do that, and it was supposed to be just like theater kid stuff. And then one time we were doing that, and a bunch of people walked into the theater to do a tour or something, and they just saw a bunch of high schoolers without their pants on doing a show, and so you know we had some explaining to do, but. Anyways, and then I have a whole host of a whole host of embarrassing ones that are not appropriate for Twitch, but we can talk about them later.
Yes, move.
Magnaria, hello.
Hey, hey.
You are
How is
Time.
everything?
you are just in
Yeah.
time to answer a very important question.
Oh, no.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're on Twitch right now, just so you know you're being streamed.
Okay.
What is your most embarrassing story from childhood?
Oh, no, thank you.
That's right. You don't have to answer. Yeah.
And I really would have to think a little bit. Like, I don't get easily embarrassed, to be honest. I don't know.
All right. Cool. What was everybody like in high school? So we know that Harley was a solo goth until senior year. Smurfbox, what about you? What kind of role did you play in your high school ecosystem?
I was in a concert band and the marching band.
Ah,
yeah.
yeah. We all,
Bad kid.
we all ran in a similar circle. Yeah. What do you play? What did you play?
The trumpet.
Oh, you're a cool one. I believe we have somebody. Anyways, I don't remember. What about
Lacey,
you?
you had too much workout.
Yeah, she's
I hate to tell you.
she's yoked. I believe that's the word for it.
Mhm.
All right, Majeka, what about you when you were in school? What were you like?
I was I was the opposite of what I am now. Now I'm a quiet guy,
Uh-huh.
and in school I was very loud and talking with people all the time and running around and making bad things and
Bad
What
things.
would give us an example of one of the bad things.
Yeah, that's what we want to hear.
I don't remember really. I
Good
forgot.
answer.
I was glad school was over because I
Me
was
too.
early tired of school, so I didn't like it. So I was
just-
glad when that time was over. So I forgot everything about it mostly. But I remember that I was raised in Germany.
Oh, that's why
yes.
your German is so good.
Yeah, and I was originally from Denmark, and when I got older, I moved back to Denmark. For the reason was, for 1 year, the reason was my mother was a teacher, and she had an extra course in Denmark for a teacher, and then we went. After 1 year, she was finished, and we went back to Germany, and I met my old classmates, and in the corner I heard somebody whisper that I was very bragging and very loud and
Oh,
things like
no.
that. And I overheard it, and from that moment, that made something inside me. I don't know what happened, but I totally changed from one moment to the other.
Called trauma.
From being outro to being intro.
Huh, that's very interesting.
That was strange experience, but that's
At least
the
you
way
know
it
exactly when it happened, because that's they say like that's like what you need to really figure out, like when you have like some unexplained behavior. Because if you don't know what triggered a big change like that, then you cannot work on it. But on this one, you could probably work,
Yeah, yeah.
even though it's
Yeah, but
many
being an
years
introvert's
later.
not a bad thing, so maybe it's not
No.
something to work on.
Yeah, true as well.
Depending on what Misheka wants.
Yeah, exactly.
But later in life, I was working in a warehouse, and the warehouse work. Well, I was working several places in warehouses, and warehouse work is very stressful sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a sickness that I couldn't work anymore, and then I got analyzed by doctors and the psychologists and so on, and now I work at a store, where people come and buy their groceries.
Oh yeah.
And that's a similar job, but it's not stressful at all for me. So I'm happy now with my work and the way I am. I like being a little quiet. I'm living a life that it's not so outgoing, but it's still okay. I enjoyed being close together with my family. I was living in Zealand in Denmark, and the rest of my family was living in Jutland. And I felt lonely, so I moved to Jutland also. So now I'm close to my family, and well, I'm satisfied with my life.
Awesome.
Like it is now.
And you make amazing stuff in Sansar.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
I too feel like when I got a little older, I used to be pretty crazy, I guess. I feel like when I got a little older that I chilled out, and I learned to enjoy my alone time. I think when I was younger, there was this like sort of, desire to always be doing something. So it was FOMO before FOMO became like a phrase, fear of missing out. But yeah, I'm definitely more quiet now.
It's definitely a new word, isn't it, FOMO? Like, I only heard of it like a year or two ago.
That's right.
I don't know.
There's Kung Fury, by the way.
There's Kung Fury. Wow,
he exists.
It looks like he's wearing a. I don't think I've ever met Kung Fury.
Really? Oh yeah, well, you
National
kind of
treasure.
knew. If you had been around a little longer, he's hard to avoid.
It's hard to avoid.
Well, not to run into, like, not in a negative way.
Wow, Bagnaria,
You are
wow.
loved, Kong. You are loved.
Oh, I'm in trouble now.
He's hard
No,
to
It's
avoid.
hard to avoid.
Why
It's
not?
hard to ignore.
No,
He's very
no.
welcome.
That's not what
wherever
I
he
meant.
comes.
I just, like, it's hard to avoid that you run into him, because, like, you will run into him. That's what I meant. Just to clarify here.
Yes. It's funny to look at him because he's he's got the bag over his head, so it looks like
Well,
he's
he always had the bag over his head.
sort
It's
of
a trademark.
ashamed.
And I was in Spain last year, in Barcelona, and I was in a shopping window, and I swear I took pictures, but I cannot find them. And it was 3 mannequins with bags on their heads, just like him. And so I was excited, because I took some snaps and wanted to send it to him when I was back, but I cannot for the world find them. But it's a good memory anyways.
Well, Kung Fury, if you want to join the conversation, we're talking about what we were like in when we were younger in high school. Although I guess I don't know how old everybody is, so for some people that might not be that long ago.
It might not be that long ago. Kung Fury just shared the best pun in chat, you guys.
No.
He's tired.
Oh, I just got it.
Oh, Kung Fury.
That was beautiful. That made me so happy.
Wow. If I really want to ban you right now.
I'm so happy. Hung, I want to give you a giant animated muscle girl hug right now. I can't though.
Let's gonna crush that tire.
Oh my gosh.
Banned from Twitch chat.
That's it.
I think people have a harder time finding events because they're not aware of the events change. That's
Yeah, we're gonna
probably-
be going
yeah.
over that in a meeting before
Yeah, on
the
Thursday.
product. Yeah, meeting.
Yeah.
Meet up
Yeah.
in my understanding. So hopefully
right,
that'll
that's right.
clarify some things.
Yeah. So people definitely should be aware that like they only can join events when they're going through the event.
Yeah, but those of you who are already used to the
Sure,
flow,
we-
if
we-
you can
we
do
know.
your part to help others, that's really appreciated.
It's also like unfortunate that the events that way don't count against the traffic, at least not visibly so.
We're
Yeah, I
making
think
some
that's being
fixes.
looking into as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and thank you for the feedback and keep giving it. I mean, that's how we make
Absolutely.
changes. So,
Yeah.
Spagnaria,
Oh, if you know me a little bit better, I'm not shy about feedback.
And it's always welcome. We appreciate
Well,
it.
but I'm very constructive and very positive. I mean,
Absolutely.
Bagnaria, I do want to ask
Uh-huh.
you. I was going to ask
Yeah.
you on Discord earlier.
Yeah.
I would love if you would take us on a tour someday that we can maybe at the next community meetup of your. I don't know what you call it. The
the scurry worlds?
no, the thing that you just made that puts
The
trees
landscape
everywhere.
object reser?
Yes,
yeah,
the
yeah.
reser. That's it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would love if
I
you would take us on
totally
a
do that.
tour. That'd be great.
Mhm. Yeah.
Maybe next Tuesday. Would you be down?
Sure. Yeah, because I'm working on it. So I just added chat commands. You can now change the configuration in chat so that you can figure out what you want for the setup later. And
That's great.
That is really helpful. So you can basically say /max, and then you give it the group number and how many plants you want instead of what you had before, and it will take them out and replant them.
Oh wow, yeah, it amazes me. So I've never built anything in Sansar, and so when I saw you working on that, and I was like, what is that? And so I looked into it, and I read what you were doing, and I realized that everybody before your tool existed had to plant every single like piece of foliage in their experience, and some
Yeah,
of
and
these
it's not just foliage.
experiences.
Yeah.
There's so many plants.
hmm
So it's not just foliage. What were you saying?
Yeah, totally. Sorry, like I got distracted. You know how that goes, like bing, 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 bing.
Yeah.
Just trying to get my attention. So, like, did I answer your question?
I asked another one, but I think I saw your avatar take your headset off.
Yeah.
What if it's not just foliage? What else does it auto-populate?
Anything you want, really. You just pick it from your inventory. So the only rule is it cannot have a collision, because if it had a collision, then they would accidentally stack on top of each other. It can be a dynamic object, that's no problem. It can, I mean, if you don't care, if you want to stack stuff, right? Like if you want to create a large pile of stuff, you can do that too. But for trees, you don't want that, because then you plant trees first, and if the tree has a collision and you do another round with like grass and other plants or mushrooms, then the mushrooms can be placed on top of the tree. But it
Well-
also has a feature that allows you to explicitly block areas from being affected. You just put objects at the scan height of the scanners. And the way it works is it's basically shooting down a matrix of raycasts to measure your landscape. And then it knows the ground position, like the height of the ground, and it knows the slope of the ground. And based on that, you decide, okay, this plant is one that cannot grow on a slope or not on a steep slope, or it's only like on top of the mountain from like 100 meters to 150 meters, stuff like that.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, are you making tutorial videos for that so people
Oh
can?
yeah, I made one. I mean, I will redo that at some point because it's really not easy because it's so complicated.
Yeah, sure.
So normally I don't really have that many like little delays, but with that tutorial I just felt, okay, you gotta redo that at some point. But I'm changing so much, so I do another one next week perhaps.
Ah, very cool.
And I do update like the script in the store with its documentation. So it's, I think what you ultimately want with it, you want it to live in edit mode. You don't want it to live in the live scene. But I can't do that yet, right? Like we don't have plugins for the editor yet.
I gotcha. Yeah, that'll be super fun. I'm really
Yeah.
excited for everybody to see that.
And the other thing that it does, which is like a semi like towards like what it needs to do in the future, it actually like the random is seeded. And what that means is it's always doing it the same way. So if you found a great looking configuration, if you want to mix it up, you change the seed. But if you keep the seed the same, when it re-reses the scene, it will do it in an identical fashion with everything, like with the position, rotation, slant, everything that you specified.
Awesome.
It's a fun object.
That yeah, it's amazing. I can't even build anything, so something that complicated is
You'll
pretty
learn.
impressive. Yeah, I would
You'll
like to learn.
have to.
I'd like to learn. I think Lacey's gonna teach me how to build some stuff.
Oh yeah, the community is really supportive. If you want to start like just trying out, because it's nice to have a little bit of experience being in edit mode and playing around.
Yeah, I was talking to Disney Huntress earlier. She has her Seen the River, and
Yeah.
it's pretty incredible actually. And
It is.
and she's like, "Oh, I've only been building since January," and I had to stop floating. I was so impressed.
Yeah, no, she's really onto it, and like got Maya classes, the whole stack really.
Right.
It's just wonderful to see someone so like committed, and you can relate to that when you're like a creator. Like I'm kind of an amateur too. Like I before hit Sansar, I had a store in Second Life, but that's like more than 7 years ago. I had it for 4 years. Was for avatars.
Oh wow.
But I didn't do anything in between for 7 years, 3D related. So I basically came back, had to relearn all the new tools like Substance Painter and all the new resources like Quixel and all the cool stuff that's available now.
Yeah, I think I think that it's great when you get like, especially when it's something creative, when you get really in depth into it and dig into it, and then all of a sudden you see yourself getting better.
Yeah. It's like amazing with the avatars. Like I'm doing all those makeups right now, and because I have done that like 10 years ago, the tools are so much better. It's so much faster and so much more accurate to project. Like I used to do that in Photoshop, and Photoshop can paint on 3D objects, but it never had the same feel that you have in Substance.
Yeah. I mean,
re-
I had not even thought about that. I mean, I've been working in a different industry for so long.
Yeah.
So okay, back to high school stuff. So yeah, I know it's all right. Okay, so who had we not gotten to? Space Sailor, what were you like in high school? Let's open a chat.
I'll be right back.
I'll see you later. In an experimental class with computers. Oh, that's cool. Ooh.
That's super cool.
That's really awesome. What did you work on in there? Whoa. On tape. When you say on tape, what do you mean by that? Like old computer tape that you would put in the machine? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, what were those computers called? I vaguely remember them. I don't think I ever had to use them, of course, but do you remember what the computer type was called?
Was it a Commodore?
Was it a Commodore?
No.
No.
Cool.
I know what they're called. Oh my god. Commodores did have it. They had something like that, but if it's not a Commodore, it must have been something else.
Amigas? I'm just wild guessing. I only heard like Commodore, so, but I know what time that was because I was around for it. In fact, like I can tell you a high school story. Like I was in the first class in Germany that had access to PCs, actually Apple IIs at that time. Like 2 years before any other school in Germany in 1977, 76, something like that.
Yeah.
So I learned computers as early as you could possibly learn them. because I'm 54, so like I was 12 when we had computer access, and so I started learning computers before most anyone else because they weren't around yet.
That's so cool. I think
Yeah.
I think by the time I was old enough to start getting on a computer, they were more popular. It was like the early 90s, I think, is when I first started enjoying the computer. 1991, 1992. But my mom at the time had worked at Sprint, and so we had a very, very fast internet connection that was faster than, what was it called? We had a really fast one. It pipelined right to our house because she worked on international clients. She was, what is it called? Anyways, it was faster than 56K, which is what everybody else had. So I was online all the time because I had this ultra fast internet connection, and I was building websites and stuff like I think everybody at that age was. Do you all remember like Angel Fire and those websites you could build with just?
Oh my gosh,
I remember like Zanga.
free webs.
Yeah, so this is probably about 7-8 years pre Zanga.
I mean, I remember those existed, but we had a bigger, poorer family, and we're not the type of people who could code a website.
Yeah, we also we normally would not have had that. My mom just happened to have a job that really specifically required that internet connection.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we were so I just remember getting to learn. I wish I would have stuck with it, because I would be I'd be an excellent programmer or something by now, but I do remember
there are
it
even
being,
younger people who learn to code after just starting with HTML from MySpace. So.
Yeah,
That's how I learned.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
MySpace. You know what? Now I have to actually text all my friends saying, "Hey, you got moved down to the number 8 in the friends list position." Like I have to update them
Wait,
like
how
that.
can you be number 8 in the top 5?
I don't know. You know what? Don't question it. Don't question it. Oh, it's such a pain. I want to be able to reorder them again.
Yeah, GeoCities and Angel Fire. That's what I used.
Yeah.
Those are really interesting. Man, I wish I had stuck with it.
I remember my first computer being a Commodore VIC.
Oh,
20.
I
And
remember
it
those.
competed with the Sinclair Spectrum ZX80.
The
It had
infamous door
only,
stuffer.
it was black and white. It had only 4 bytes, but the VIC-20 had 16 bytes and was color, 8 colors, I think it was.
so
I think VIC, it stands for Very Important Computer
Nice.
back then.
Yeah, I could not afford an Apple II when I was at school, so I we were like a whole group of like 5 guys and me, who always hung out in the computer room, and we got locked in a lot of times. So we were in the school at midnight, and our parents were trying to get to us and stuff like that. It was crazy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What did I barely remember these. I mean, I was not alive when people were actively using the VIC-20s, but that happened right before I was born. But I saw some of them because my grandparents had one, and I always wanted to use it. Okay, so what were we talking about?
High school.
High school.
Who hasn't answered yet?
I think everybody's. Well, Kung Fury has not answered.
Yeah, come
I have not
closer.
answered.
Kung, bring
I don't
your
know if I
tire
should.
over. Come, we don't bite.
Yeah, what was Kung Fury like?
Kung Fury, what was high school like for you? I'll have to open up chat.
I like his response.
What?
So far, just what?
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 What's that?
What were you like in high school? Well,
No back yet.
I guess I don't know where Kung Fury is from. Maybe they call it something else. I'm really digging this synthwave playlist I put on.
Yeah, it's nice. I like it.
Harley, your shirt is awesome.
Right? I forget who created this one, but it's the media shirt, and it just kind of reflects whatever media is in a certain room.
I wish we could get this full screen so your whole shirt would be this sort of synthwave visualization.
Yeah, me too, because like that's what the skirt goes with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a configuration for your media stream because I mean it's on the screen like that as well, right? With all the white surrounding it.
That's right.
Yeah,
You have to-
unfortunately, it's because
Yeah?
whoever created this video
Yeah.
has the
Limited
option to
the-
embed turned off.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Actually, you know what I did not do is add the autoplay on there. Let's see if that changes it.
Like I don't know what it's called, but it has like TV in it. Configuration for YouTube.
Oh, does it?
That is usually the one that goes full screen. I can send you some configurations that run full screen versus like in box mode.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
No problem.
Equals 1.
Like we have them like in Scurry Waters. We have like the media is always running on full screen.
Yeah, we have to see Scurry Waters at some point.
Well, hit us up and we give you an exclusive tour.
Exclusive. It'll be on Twitch, so everybody will see it. But
Oh, okay. Well, it's like Scurry Waters has a lot to do. Like you have the bubble game, you have like 9 other quests of little games like knife board games. You have to shoot pirate ships to bring the sails down and the ship down. Things like that.
I tried. Scurry Waters was one of the first experiences
You went to.
that I went to when I got this job, and I was trying to shoot the cannon,
Mm-hmm.
and I was not very good at it. And I ran.
Yeah.
I ran into somebody, and I don't remember who it was, and I really wish I do, because it was the first person that I'd met in Sansar. Was just happened to be on one of the boats, and I was talking to them, and I don't remember who it was, and I'm pretty upset about it.
Maybe that person remembers. I don't think it was me, but it might be met you. Like I mean, we're in Scurry Waters a lot.
It was a soft-spoken British fellow.
Soft-spoken Brit. Who could that be?
Yeah.
Surreal, perhaps? I don't know.
Maybe it was the owner of this experience, Sin.
Ben hasn't been
could be.
around in months though, so
Yeah.
I would imagine it was probably Love Anime, maybe.
That could be.
Yeah.
Well, you know what would be a really cool feature, and this is something I'll pass on to the team. On consoles, like if you play a video game, one of the things that happens if you play online with people is you get a sort of box that tells you who you've recently played with. So like in this experience, there's 7 of us in here now, and let's say somebody popped in here and met somebody and then left and then forgot who they talked to. They could go back and be like, oh, this is who was there.
Yeah, I'd like that too. And it would be
Oh,
nice
it was
if you could-
Scorpion. That's right, Space Sailor. That's exactly who it was.
Cool. Always nice to remember those things.
Yeah, that's the name I remember. What were you saying, Bagnaria? Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, I get lost too. So I was last referring to Scorpion, but before that, I don't know. Like I have plenty of distractions. But yeah, Scurry Waters is a lot of work. Like we worked on that for I think 4 months, both of us. So like most of our time went into Scurry Waters for sure.
Yeah, Screw Riders is super fun.
Yeah.
All right, let me see what we got going on. I think we have 5 minutes left, so in case you all want to say anything to anybody on Twitch, now's your time. I think.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for
Twitch
watching.
people.
I think we had a grand total of 7 people, so it's a big deal. And then I'm gonna.
How many on Twitch?
I think there's 4 right now, but we had several people popping in and out,
Mm-hmm.
including Brandon, who I don't know who Brandon is on Twitch, but I believe they're a user. Let's see who it is. Brandon, who are you? Who are you?
Way to sound ominous.
Brandon, who are you? I really want when I was first creating the avatar for Galileo, I guess I really wanted to get a voice modulator so I could sound like I was, I don't know, heavenly, I guess.
Hmm. I don't think you need it though. If you use that other voice, that's heavenly enough to me.
Right? That was serious theater chops.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, thanks everyone.
Thanks for
I'm gonna
joining
get
us.
Oh,
going,
absolutely.
But see you soon.
Yeah, see you the next day, right?
Yeah.
If you come, I would love to see you there.
Let's, what game would you want to play tomorrow, Bagnaria?
What game? Like I don't know. Like I mean, of course, I could always plug in our experiences, right? Like it's super fun to do Squarelandia with a group.
Okay. Yeah, we might do that. Why not?
Like it's we added a lot of new things. Like there's rocks falling in the entranceway now. There's like a new way the boss dies. So like it's pretty cool. Like you have to kill him with a slingshot now.
Ooh, cool.
And yeah, it's really fun in a group, I think. And especially a small group is ideal because like if it's too many people, it might weigh down the experience.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll just
But
wanna
like
play.
10, 20 should be fine.
Oh, I don't think we usually don't have that many in these.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, everybody, I'm out. I have to go to a meeting.
Have a productive day. I will go back to work on the object thingy.
Nice to meet you,
Yes,
Kung
have a good
Fury.
day.
Bye, Space. Bye, Majeka. Thanks for sharing your story with us. And Smurf,
Bye, no
problem.
I want to hear your trumpet skills.
Yeah, bring the trumpet.
I don't know if Smurf's here. Smurf. All right, I'll tell him later. Bye, everybody.
Bye everyone.
Bye.